Listen to me carefully because what I'm about to say is going to make some of you uncomfortable, and that's good. Discomfort is where change starts. Everyone loves to blame something else for being broke. The economy, their boss, the system, bad luck, inflation. Pick your favorite excuse, I've heard them all. But here's the truth. Nobody wants to hear, and I'm going to say it anyway because that's my job. You're not broke because you don't earn enough. You're broke because of what you do with the money you already have. I've seen this my entire life. I've watched people making $40,000 a year quietly build wealth, and I've watched people making $200,000 live paycheck to paycheck, stressed out, angry, and confused. Same country, same economy, same opportunities, very different outcomes. Why? Because income doesn't make you rich. Decisions do. And before you roll your eyes and say, "Here we go, another rich guy preaching relax," this isn't about skipping coffee or living like a monk. I don't care what you drink. I care what you repeatedly buy without thinking. Because those small habitual decisions are quietly draining your future while you're busy telling yourself everything is fine. Let me ask you something that should bother you. Really bother you. How is it possible that someone earning half of what you earn ends up with more money, more freedom, and less stress than you? Are they smarter? Not necessarily. Luckier, no. They just understand one brutal rule of money that most people never learn. Rich people buy things that put money into their pockets. Poor people buy things that take money out and call them investments to feel better. That's the illusion, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Today, I'm going to break that illusion whether you like it or not. Let's set the rules of the game, because if you don't understand the rules, you're guaranteed to lose. Money is not emotional. It doesn't care about your intentions, your hard work, or how tired you are. It only responds to one thing: cash flow. That's it. And once you understand that, everything changes. Here's the simplest truth I can give you. An asset is something that puts money into your pocket. A liability is something that takes money out. Not someday. Not in theory. In real life, month after month. This isn't philosophy, it's math. If money is coming in without you working more hours, that's an asset. If money is going out just so you can keep owning something that's a liability. Simple, brutal, honest. Now this is where society lies to you. They tell you your house is your biggest asset. No, it's not. If you live in it, it sends money out every single month. Mortgage taxes, insurance repairs, that's not an asset, that's a very expensive lifestyle choice. They also tell you spending is a reward. You worked hard, you deserve it. Deserve what? A smaller future? Because every dollar you spend on something that doesn't grow is a dollar that can never work for you. This is the difference nobody wants to talk about. Looking rich versus being rich. Looking rich is shiny, cars, big houses, constant upgrades. Being rich is boring. It's quiet. It's numbers on a screen growing while you sleep. Nobody claps for that, which is why most people never do it. And here's the killer concept tying all of this together: opportunity cost. Every dollar has a job. If you waste it on something that makes you feel good for 5 minutes, it can't compound for you for 30 years. Money doesn't disappear when you spend it. It just stops working for you. And that's the real crime. Now, let me hit you with the first mistake, and this one is almost universal. New cars. I know. People get emotional about this. They puff up their chest and say, "Kevin, I need a reliable car." Relax. Reliability has nothing to do with buying brand new. That's marketing talking, not logic. The moment you drive a new car off the lot, congratulations, you just lost 20 to 30% of its value. Instantly. You didn't hit a pothole, you didn't scratch it, You didn't spill coffee on the seat. It simply exists outside the dealership and thousands of dollars vanish. Poof! That's not transportation. That's depreciation with leather seats. Now here's where it gets really ugly. Most people don't even pay cash for this privilege. They borrow money. 5%, 6%, 7% interest, sometimes more, to buy something that is dropping in value faster than ice cream melts in July. Think about how insane that is. You're paying interest on an object that's actively losing value. That's a double loss. You lose on depreciation, and you lose again on interest. That's not a mistake. That's financial self-sabotage. And leasing. Oh, leasing is even better if your goal is to stay broke forever. Leasing means you pay thousands of dollars to rent a depreciating asset, then hand it back at the end with nothing to show for it. No equity, no ownership, just receipts. You didn't buy a car, you sponsored the dealership owner's vacation. People always say, "But Kevin, I deserve something nice." Fine. Buy nice, just don't buy stupid. A 2- or 3-year-old certified pre-owned car does the exact same job, often with a warranty for half the price. Let someone else eat the depreciation. That's not being cheap. That's being intelligent. When I was building my first businesses, I drove absolute garbage. Embarrassing cars. Did it hurt my ego? Sure, for about 5 minutes. Did it help my net worth? Immensely. Because every dollar I didn't sink into a car was a dollar working for me somewhere else. Here's the truth nobody wants to accept. The car you drive doesn't say anything about your wealth. It says something about your priorities. Your portfolio tells the real story. And flashy cars are usually just expensive proof that someone cares more about looking rich than actually being rich. Now let's talk about the biggest mistake people make in their entire financial lives, and this one carries real weight. The house. Your house. The one you live in. This is where people get defensive, emotional, and completely blind to math. They've been told since childhood that buying a big house is success, that it's the ultimate asset, the proof that you've made it. And that lie has quietly destroyed more wealth than bad stock picks ever could. Let me be very clear, because words matter here. A house you live in is not the same thing as real estate investing. Those are two completely different animals. An investment property puts money in your pocket. Your primary residence does the opposite. Every single month it reaches into your bank account and pulls money out. Mortgage payments, property taxes, insurance, maintenance, repairs, utilities, landscaping. Something always breaks. Always. Owning a home is a constant financial responsibility, not a magic wealth machine. But Kevin, people say real estate always goes up. No, it doesn't. Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes sideways, and sometimes it collapses. Ask anyone who bought at the top in 2007. Ask people who were underwater on their mortgages for years. Even when prices rise, you don't get to touch that money unless you sell the house you live in or borrow against it, which just puts you deeper into debt. That's not freedom, that's a golden cage. And here's the part that should really bother you. The bank is not your friend. When a bank approves you for a huge mortgage, they're not giving you financial advice. They're selling you debt. They want you borrowing as much as possible for as long as possible because that's how they make money. 30 years of interest payments flowing quietly from your life into theirs. That approval letter is not a compliment. It's a business transaction. And you are the product. People stretch themselves to the limit. If the bank says $500,000, they buy $500,000. That's insanity. By the time you factor in interest over 30 years, that house doesn't cost $500,000. It costs $800,000 or more. Hundreds of thousands of dollars paid just for the privilege of borrowing money. Imagine what that money could have become if it had been invested instead. Here's the smarter move, and it's not glamorous. Buy less house than you can afford. Way less, half if you can. Live in something smaller, simpler, maybe a little less impressive to people who don't matter. Then take the difference every single month and put it to work. Invest it. Let it compound. Let it grow quietly while everyone else is busy upgrading kitchens and chasing square footage. Wealth isn't built by maxing out what you can buy. It's built by controlling what you don't need. Your house should support your life, not consume it. The goal isn't to impress visitors. The goal is to buy your future back one smart decision at a time. Now, let's talk about a mistake that feels harmless, even normal, which is exactly why it's so dangerous. Eating out. Restaurants, takeout delivery apps, fancy coffee, casual lunches, quick dinners because you're too busy. It doesn't feel like a financial decision. It feels like life. And that's the trap. Let me give you a number that should make you uncomfortable. The average person spends thousands of dollars a year eating out. Not once-in-a-while celebrations. I'm talking about habits. Coffee in the morning lunch during work dinner because cooking feels like effort. Weekends because you earned it. Add it up. $3,000 a year is conservative for most people. Many of you are spending $5,000, $6,000, even $7,000 and pretending it's nothing. Now here's where the story changes. That same $3,000 invested consistently over 30 years can turn into hundreds of thousands of dollars. Real money, freedom money, retirement money. And instead it disappears into meals you barely remember. I always say this, nobody remembers the sandwich they bought last Tuesday, but they will absolutely feel the absence of financial security later in life. People tell me they don't have money to invest, and then I watch them spend $15 on lunch without thinking twice. You do have money. You're just feeding it to short-term convenience instead of long-term freedom. That's not a money problem. That's a priority problem. Now don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying never eat out. That's ridiculous. Life should be enjoyed. But enjoyment without control turns into self-sabotage. Rich people don't eliminate pleasure. They schedule it. They make it intentional. They cook most of the time, they plan meals, they bring lunch, they make their own coffee, and when they do go out, it's deliberate. It's special. It's worth it. Small expenses feel invisible because they don't hurt immediately, but over time, they compound in the wrong direction. They quietly steal your future while you're distracted by convenience. Convenience is expensive. Freedom is earned. And the difference between the two often starts with what you decide to eat when nobody's watching. Now let's talk about the money you're losing without even noticing, because this is where things get sneaky. Clothes, gadgets, upgrade subscriptions. The quiet stuff, the it's only a little stuff. This is modern consumerism at its finest, and it's brilliantly designed to separate you from your money while making you feel smart, stylish, and up to date. Every year there's a new phone that's supposedly life-changing, a slightly better camera, a marginally faster chip, and somehow your perfectly functional device suddenly feels embarrassing. That's not innovation, that's emotional manipulation. The same thing happens with clothes. New season, new trend, new reason to believe what you already own isn't good enough. Your closet isn't empty, but your brain has been convinced it is. Here's the truth. Nobody is paying as much attention to what you wear or what phone you use as you think they are. And the people who are judging you based on that are not people whose opinions should influence your financial future. Looking current is expensive. Being financially secure is priceless. Now, let's add subscriptions into this mess. because this is the silent killer. Gym memberships you don't use, streaming services you forgot about, apps charging you every month for something you opened twice, $10 here, $15 there. It doesn't feel painful, which is exactly why it works. It's a slow leak in your bank account dripping away year after year. I want you to picture this. Your bank statement is telling the real story of your financial life, and most people are afraid to read it honestly. If you actually sit down and look at every recurring charge, you'll be shocked by how much money you're donating to companies betting on your laziness. Cancel them. Today. Not tomorrow. Today. That's instant cash flow back into your life. Here's the mindset shift that changes everything. Wealth isn't about having more things. It's about needing fewer. Control beats consumption every time. When you stop buying feelings and start buying freedom, your money finally starts working for you instead of against you. Let me bring this all together, because if you miss this part, everything you just heard is useless. We talked about the big mistakes. New cars that bleed value the second you buy them. Houses that are too big, too expensive, and quietly consume your future. Eating out until convenience replaces freedom. Buying things to feel better instead of building something that lasts. Subscriptions draining your account while you're not even paying attention. None of these things make you poor on their own. What makes you poor is repeating them without questioning them. And here's the part people don't like to accept. This has nothing to do with your salary. I've seen people making modest incomes build real wealth because they controlled their decisions. And I've seen high earners trapped, stressed, and living paycheck to paycheck because they refused to change their habits. Money doesn't reward effort. It rewards discipline. It rewards awareness. It rewards consistency. Every day you're making a choice, whether you admit it or not. Comfort now or freedom later. Applause today or independence tomorrow. Looking successful or actually being successful. You can't have both at the same time, and anyone who tells you otherwise is selling you something. This isn't about living small or miserable, it's about living intentionally. When you stop wasting money on things that don't matter, you create space for things that do. Time, options, peace of mind. The ability to say no. That's real wealth, not stuff, not status, control. So here's what I want you to do. If this hit you, if it made you uncomfortable, good. That means it worked. Hit the like button so more people hear what most don't want to say. Leave a comment and be honest with yourself. Which of these mistakes are you still making? And if you're serious about changing the trajectory of your life, subscribe. Not for motivation, but for clarity. Money doesn't care about your feelings, it only cares about your choices. Make better ones. That's how you win.